Hey kids, you trying to get into Segment City? Well, you really shouldn't, because Segment City is a mature podcast, and listener discretion is advised. I'm just trying to look at... I know I'm in an alleyway. I know how I look, but I got some fireworks for you kids. I got snakes and I got sparklers. That's all I got. Oh, don't give me that.
Well, you and I both primarily work from home. We don't venture outside these walls as often as we once did to see the yonder world.
It's scary out there.
They'll take the tires off my car, sir. If I stop for even one moment, it's speed, and I'm Cockney. I'm a little British boy, and I'm speeding along. I can't stop.
They want me to do things, say things to people, look them in the eye. I can't do that. I haven't done that in years.
They say, would you like to pay by cash or credit? And I freeze up, sir. I can't do it.
And I say, can we make a Zoom meeting?
Who's taking
really
notes? Who's doing
this out?
Can we circle back? Can we follow up?
Can we circle back on this? You at least have coworkers that you
I do, but
meet
this
with,
is
I don't got nobody.
This is all to say, in a world in which I work from home, I have much less of an excuse to buy shoes, but I've done it once again.
Okay.
Here they are. I brought for show and tell my new shoes because I don't have an excuse to wear them outside, so I'm wearing them around the house.
Wow. Oh, you know what? I had this exact same thought, but not about shoes, because I got some Marvel socks that I was like, these are kind of lit, though.
They're kind of like, I do want somebody to say, yo, nice socks, though.
I do want to pull up my pants leg and be like, look, it's Spider-Man. And everyone goes, it's Spider-Man. And they're nice, but I don't know the quality. I haven't worn them yet. That is a worry about those.
You're waiting for the right special occasion to show off to your friends and family. Yeah, yes. So I don't know.
You just wear them around you also.
I impulsively bought some shoes, love the shoes, really excited about the shoes. Don't have an excuse to wear them outside. It's also the middle of winter. There's salt all over the road. So what am I going to do? I'm wearing these.
The worst time.
I gotta look at them. I can wear them inside, and I can wear them in 4 months when it's nice out again.
Yeah. Are you wearing them right now, or was that just a physical comedy bit?
It was a goof. I'm wearing one. Okay. It was a physical goof just for you. I held my foot up to the camera so Will could see it. It wasn't for you. It was just for him.
Great. Well, I'm glad we can establish.
I'm wearing just one. Take
it off. That's
or put the other one on.
That's true. Sometimes it's. I wear for the listen, also a visual thing from people at home. I'm wearing a tank top right now. I did switch back into a t-shirt because I was exercising before this, and then I had the weirdest thing where I was like, "These shoulders, no. These feel constricting.
You gotta
right
be
now.
free. You gotta let the guns loose.
The heat is blasting in my apartment. I'm feeling good. I can have the shoulders out without being cold.
Good for you to live in an apartment where you can reasonably wear a tank top during the middle of January. I'm here with 4 layers in my apartment.
That was me earlier. It's because Andy is home specifically. Because otherwise it's like 68.
I love that. She designed the thermostat with like, I'll set it around my schedule, and Will just put up with it.
Oh, it is to the point that it is a little bit frustrating because she has it set that when it's a good idea, bad in execution, because I think we didn't set it to the right time because the heat is supposed to go on right before we get up.
Yeah,
but
right.
The problem is I think it's a little too early because I just get sweaty in the morning, because I still have the sheets on me, and then it just
period. Yeah.
And then I am the frog in the boiling water, and then I start to I'm hot
God.
now. But yes, it is nice and toasty now. And it's always toasty in Segment City because it's on the equator?
Maybe.
Could be. You don't know. You don't know where this is.
We're more of a Metal Gear Solid floating military base situation, offshore nation. We're forming the Diamond Dogs, and we will strike at some point. We're coming for your capitalist society. All right? I'm just going to put that out there.
You take a right at Albuquerque, and you get right to Segment City.
Didn't we establish just that we were in the ocean? How is it in a landlocked place like Albuquerque?
Well, my name is Will Kane, and you know what? I'm doing very well. I didn't think of an intro. Cut this out. Whoever's
No, that's good. I got him on 217
not.
episodes in. Freaking boomed him. And I'm Theo Sapakos, and I'm wearing anywhere between 1 and 2 shoes. You don't know. Or 0 and 2 shoes. In fact, I'm taking a shoe off right now as we speak.
You know what? I did freeze. So I'm going to, whoever's editing this, just edited in me saying, I'm doing very well. In that voice.
I guarantee you, if I am editing this, if I am editing
this part in.
Okay.
part.
And then it'll loop back.
Then it's funny. Then it'll be funny.
Okay, then it's
it wasn't funny.
Okay.
This is a podcast in which you and I are funny, hopefully, and we dumpster dive our way through the internet, get those good comedy morsels, and we package them into segments for you. And we're going to start with a Will Stupid Thought. Because sometimes I go through like little binges of different things. Like I sometimes get into history. I become a history buff for a little bit. Not that I feel like it like goes in waves where it gets like more active. But this thought came from that because I wonder how long it would take for a time traveler to get used to how people smelled before regular bathing. Because that's one of my things that I think about that I don't think other people think about when it comes to time travel. They think about I'm going to go and see Marie Antoinette and all these things, but I'm like, during the French Revolution, where everyone is stinky and peasants, I don't think so. That's going to be the worst smelling place imaginable.
Yeah, no, the stench would be the mitigating factor to leave this time period, bar none. You can't leave. You can't leave. We're trapped here by our weak. You think that our like emotional state has become weak? No, it's our noses that have become soft and pampered. You go back, you want to go to see ancient Egypt? Do you know how many animals there are? You stinky donkey and freaking camels everywhere, my guy. Those do not smell good. You want to see ancient Rome with their public toilets where you have to shit in public?
Oh, yeah.
My man, you're not doing that.
Literally, there's a stick with a sponge on the end that you all share. It goes into a bucket. That is a fact.
I think I would just die immediately. I am reading a book right now that is about somebody who time travels back from present day back to into the 1950s. And I really appreciate so it's a Stephen King book. And he goes into detail saying like several times, he's like, yeah, there's gasoline stench everywhere. Everyone's smoking all the time. It's really jarring for the main character. And I'm like, it would be jarring. It's not just all like peaches and cream.
Well, it's all cultural stuff too, because going back to your like ancient Egypt, I think they were like, yes, for our ceremony, we're gonna pour a little piss on you or something. Like I think there's like other rituals that people did in olden times that nowadays we'd be like, I'm sorry, you're gonna do what? I don't think so. And
even okay,
that's bad.
Take away any of the animal smells or any of the weird ritual smells.
Yeah,
standard run of the mill BO.
That's
just a lot of there's no deodorant past like 50 years or so. Like you're cooked.
I feel like most times, anytime outside of the 1900s,
right?
Like before the 1900s, I feel like it would be total stink zone.
Right.
Not to say that
there are pockets of civilization that had soap, but it is not the norm of human existence. It's
not like how we think about cleanliness now, because people would comb their hair. It was more about dirt, honestly. If you had fucking dirt on you,
that was considered literally dirty.
That was literally dirty. And then he was like, "Oh, I rubbed some petals on me," or like, "I had an infusion to my morning water." Because people would like sponge bath themselves in the 1800s. Like the 1800s, by the way, not that long ago. Like we weren't even going to ancient Egypt. This is like last year in the cosmic sense.
A few generations ago. It was not that long ago.
I was like, because I've done some reading on that, and just also the thought of having outhouses without good toilet paper, without like, because I know people who it's like, if I don't have Charmin on my ass, I'm rebelling. Like I'm just gonna fall over, I'm gonna die. Like
my anus will revolt. I will die.
I cannot go. I do like how you broadened it to like people wouldn't survive. Because I do think that people would survive.
It would just be deeply uncomfortable.
Boring.
Right.
Yeah, it would just be uncomfortable. It would be boring. And it would just, like, you would be more likely to die of stupid things.
Oh, we're more overstimulated now than ever before. But it's also 100%. Like, I think the things you don't think about in time travel are the fun ones. Like, you're going to go back to a time period where they didn't have salt, my dude. I don't know what to tell you. Your food is going to be bland.
it's gonna be some bad food.
You're gonna get a sweet craving within the first like 4 days you're there and not be able to satisfy it.
Speaking of like cultural stuff back in the day, you end up in Scotland or something, and they're like, "Would you like some haggis?" And you're like, "Oh shit, that's all you got?
That's all you got? Anything else? You guys don't have any sushi places? What am I gonna do?
We boil things." And it's like, "Oh, you boil things? That's it?
That's
it,
it,
man."
There's this stuff coming up. It's called oil, and you fry things in it. You're gonna freak out. You're gonna freak out, guys.
I think people would be surprised at how that people would make food taste good, because people survived in any time period. It's not like they were like, well, time to be absolute pigsties. Like they would try, but it was like nobody was lugging in pails of water in order to have a bath. Like they were just like, yeah, fuck that. But yeah, I think it would be smelly. I think it would just be boring, and I think a lot of the menial labor would just because most of it was menial labor. Because people also, we live in a information and like service society, and I think people would be like, "Oh, I have to shovel now. That's the jobs here, huh? I can't be a clerk. No,
like I'm an ice. So my job options are ice hauler or farmer. All right. Shit.
This might be a question for next time, but I feel like I might have asked you what profession you would be back in the day, because I feel like I could survive with something. But I do that sometimes as a fun little like mind game of like, all right, put back into medieval times. What do you do?
Are you kidding me?
I'd take over society.
I would be a great snake oil salesman. Hey, gather around, come on by, see what this tonic can do for you. It can cure your eyesight. It can cure your jaundice. And you, sir, you, ma'am, step right up, have a sip. You're gonna look 20 years younger just from smelling the stuff.
Oh, I better not, because I'm only 20.
Okay. She looks like a newborn, folks. Look at this.
My eyes are sealed together from all the dirt.
From working in the glue factory, see?
This is a good, easy solution for me, a snake oil salesman. I'm just going to wipe that off, and now you're healed.
Wow, you're healed. Now that will be some dollary dues,
wow, please. Didn't even think about wiping my eyes.
That wasn't even snake oil. That was legitimately just helping you.
And then I become a physical therapist, the first physical therapist ever to exist.
You're like, well, I set out to be a snake oil salesman, and I just couldn't hack it.
So you say you've been hunched over for 30 years? 30 years in the mud pits. That's not good for your posture.
Okay, I'm going to prescribe not being in the mud pits. That's what I'm going to do.
That's the only way I know how to live. Well, it's ruining your joints. Your joints are absolutely...
I'm going to give you this physical therapy chair, prescribed chair. And if anybody tries to sit in it, tell them it's your prescription chair.
It's my prescription chair.
And you don't have to sit in the mud pits any longer.
Oh, he just got stabbed for his chair. That's sad.
Okay, well.
Back in the day, you know what?
Oh, well, he at least paid his copay. We're good.
Well, that is back in the day, but you know what? We're in the present right now, and the present is for you, Theo. It's your segment.
It's my segment, and I want it now. And this one comes to us. I've been in the mud pit, in the slop, in the trough, digging,
Let me help
grinding.
Really massage you because your spine is crooked.
It's crooked. It's hunched and it's terrible because I've been down on prnewswire.com.
Every time you hate it. Every time.
That's right. And this one is entitled...
Piece of shit.
What a wedding dreams come true. You could win a Las Vegas wedding courtesy of Whataburder.
Okay, that's like I was waiting for the catch because the way that was structured was like, oh.
It was right off the bat. If you were reading it, it was what a wedding, one word, what a wedding.
What a wedding.
What a wedding. Here we go. Here's the news briefing from San Antonio. Mm-hmm. Say I do with a Whataburger in hand and love in the air.
In hand? Honey, I want to, instead of rings.
This Valentine's Day, Whataburger is making hearts and taste buds swoon by giving one lucky couple an ultimate prize, a Whataburger wedding at its Las Vegas location on Friday, February 14th, 2025. Will, I'm signing you up. You could win.
I'm not even getting married. You're the one.
You.
I don't want this. What a wedding.
I think my may actually murder me if I told her I was doing this.
I just said
There are
that.
few things that would break my mother's love for me, and I think this would be one of them.
Your mother isn't even like the most prim and proper woman, but just the fact that this would be such a low bar.
She would murder me.
I can imagine her
Something
just
would
being
snap.
like, Theo, is this really what you want?
No, she would drop the pretending to be happy for me immediately. Are you kidding me?
No, it would be an intervention. Like, she would sit you down.
What am I going to wear? A burger suit.
Yeah. Listen, we're just going to have our quarter pounders down the aisle. It would be great, Mom, in Las Vegas. And she's just like, should I
raised
kill my son?
to be a monster. From the ceremony to the reception and a few surprises, touches along the way, Whataburger will cover the details. You just bring the love to enter for a chance to win this unforgettable What a Wedding. Yeah, okay.
No, okay. This is I don't want surprises at my wedding.
Yes. Yes. It's also
I don't want a Jack in the Box coming out.
Eligible
a trapdoor beneath me that blades me into a big pile of burgers. I don't need that, okay? I don't need
and it's
going to
be officiated by John Cena. Like, oh no.
Actually, that would be so. Well, you can't see him.
You can't see him.
He's actually invisible.
He's doing the bit.
Yeah. We couldn't get John Cena. This is, sorry.
Eligible fans are invited to submit a 30 to 45-second video sharing their unique love story and how Whataburger became a part of it. Now, Will, I am not an endorser of AI, but if there was ever a time to employ AI, make AI watch these 30 to 45-second videos. Don't make a human do it. This is terrible. This is a terrible use of somebody's time.
Hi, we're George and Jessica from Des Moines, Iowa. And we wanted the Whataburger wedding experience. That's right. Shut up, Dave. You next. That wasn't even his name. I never heard the character's name. But we want to have this Las Vegas wedding. We're out of time because 30 to 45 seconds is a very short amount of time to make a pitch.
This video has been deemed what a bummer.
Fine to terminate these people.
Did you meet your soulmate in the drive-thru?
No.
Hey, Whataburger? Huh? If I met them in the drive-thru, then I was in the same car as them.
That is an American cute if I've ever heard one.
How do you meet someone in the drive-thru? You're in your car? Did you meet? Hey, Will, did you meet your fiance? Did you meet your significant other in traffic?
No. We met because we both had a heart attack at the Whataburger at the same time. We were brought to the same hospital.
Same ambulance. It was beautiful.
They put us one on top of the other in the same stretcher. It was amazing.
They called it the McEmergency. It was beautiful.
It's Whataburger's long-term plan to create romance for everybody by getting ambulances involved.
So did you meet your soulmate in the drive-thru, fall head over heels during a honey butter chicken biscuit date? Okay. Or maybe Whataburger was there for your late night snack runs? Whatever your story, Whataburger wants to hear it. Yes, Will, whatever your story is. Any story.
Did you pour Whataburger sauce on your lover and lick it off? Then tell us all about it.
Did you scream at one of the employees, "You think you're better than me? Let's fight"? Then we want to hear about it.
Don't you look at my husband. Don't you look at him. Did you yell that at one of our employees?
6 orders of nuggets. Stop asking.
We don't have nuggets.
No.
What do we even have at Whataburger?
Fans can submit their videos here from December 20th to December 30th. Sorry, you're already over. The winner is expected to be announced before January 14th, just in time to plan the Whata wedding of their dreams. For more information, go to this URL. It's what a lovely day for my daughter to get married today at Whataburger.
What a piece of shit wedding this is.
This is terrible.
They don't say anything about the actual. They didn't even have pictures, did they? I wouldn't assume that they would have.
What did they have a picture of?
A concept art AI generated slop, anything, literally anything. Give me
AI
the Willy
generate,
Wonka,
please generate
Glasgow
me
experience.
happy couple getting married at Whataburger. It just displays
12 fingers like,
12
on each
fingers.
hand.
Both of them eating 4 burgers like,
Molding into each other, melting.
oh God.
Honey, we're one with
We are
marriage.
one with marriage and one with Whataburger. Well, that was what the slop and trough delivered this time. Come back next time for more beautiful PR Newswire stories that I will deliver to you. But for now, you know what I want? I want something that will bring me out of the muck. Something that will really change my perspective.
Oh, Theo, that is a perfect transition because we are now going to go into an article by the BBC which asked, what are the best lucid dreaming techniques?
Oh.
Welcome, everybody, to the dreamscape. It's me, the Dream Wizard, and I'm going to show you how to rock as hard as I do. But you, I don't like you, so I'm going to make sure your pants fall down in front of all your friends. And then your teeth, spit them out.
Do you think that Mark Zuckerberg tried to get into lucid dreaming and couldn't? And so he was like, that's it. I'm making the metaverse because I will be king there. And no one can tell me that I'm not in charge. Not even my own brain.
If Mark Zuckerberg got on a interview or something and said, I've never dreamed in my life, I would believe it. 100% believe it. I saw, not to get too far off track, but he said he did a whole revamp of his image, so he has broccoli hair now, and he's trying to look younger. And he was also like, Meta isn't manly enough, and it's like, oh my guy, software development is so
yeah, dude, it's been led by you for how many years, my man?
Yeah. But anyway, let's get into this. What lucid dreaming techniques are and how to do them by Jocelyn Timperley.
This isn't even a WikiHow. This is the BBC.
No, this is BBC. This is just saying this is going into actual research that there's not a lot of research.
This
about this stuff, but
actually actionable advice from Segment City Podcast. What is this?
Interesting. It is dreamscape advice, so that is the exact advice that we
do not try to execute this advice in the real world. It will not work.
Only in the dreamscape.
So, lucid dreaming holds a widespread appeal, but many people simply can't do it. So, what do studies show are the best techniques? And this is when I like when people add a little bit of editorializing, and this is the perfect amount to me. I first heard about lucid dreaming as a teenager, and for a short while became fascinated with it. Mm-hmm. The idea of being conscious in your dreams, or even being able to direct and adapt them, holds an obvious appeal. Ever wanted to fly, walk through walls, meet a famous person? Anything could be possible in a lucid dream.
Have your body pillow talk back to you? Meet those anime girls that you really want to talk to in real life?
Oh, Theo-chan, I love you so much.
No, don't use my name.
Come and lay on me. It's me, the underage girl from My Hero Academia.
No.
You know, the gravity one.
Move on with the article. No.
So lucid dreaming simply means a dream where you're aware that you're dreaming while you're still asleep. There is, of course, a huge spectrum of what could occur in the dream within this definition, from a fleeting passive awareness that you are in a dream, to taking full control of the dream and being able to direct it. And now this is where I'm going to break and say, Theo, have you ever had a lucid dream?
I have, and similar to this author, I would say in my tween years, I discovered lucid dreaming and had a friend who was really into it, and so he was giving me some tips and tricks about how to do it. I could count on one hand the number of lucid dreams I've had in my life, but they've been pretty nifty. It's not so it wasn't lucid dream to where I could control every aspect of it, but it was where I would realize that I was dreaming. And then within the scenario my brain had already conjured up, I was pretty much in control of my own actions, which is pretty neat.
I have had lucid dreamings where I've been like, oh, this is a dream. It's usually towards the end of the dream, though. That's usually where I either will fly up into the air, and then sometimes I'll get locked in where I don't realize I can control everything, so I continue flying up, and I'm like, ah.
I will say that I've had one or two lucid dreams where I realize I'm dreaming. I basically assume control, but my brain is still in dream logic. So I'm interacting with people and my friends, but they're responding in complete dream gobbledygook, and me, rational brain me, is like, what? I'm just
This
trying
is
to
nothing.
this is nothing. I'm just trying to like make sense of the situation.
It is interesting. They are going to get into some of the reasons why people would want to lucid dream, and some of them are surprising, some are not surprising of why people would do it. In research at sleep laboratories, if people are capable of signaling with eye movements while clearly in a rapid eye movement, REM sleep, then, quote, generally we agree that they were lucid dreaming, says Karen Concali, a PhD researcher in psychology at Northwestern University in Illinois. So they say if you can like hear, they'll get into this further in the article, but they would talk to people and those people would respond with like eye movements, which is fucking fascinating.
Because it's the only part of your it's the only part of your body that's moving when you're asleep, right? It's just your eyes.
Yeah,
so
just your eyes. But while
you're not going to be like, you're not going to sit up and open your eyes and go, I am lucid dreaming.
How many people are in this room?
3.
While some people experience lucid dreaming spontaneously, for others it only occurs after an external stimulus, such as having a conversation, watching a video, or reading an article about lucid dreaming, or sometimes after a lot of hard work trying to achieve one.
Or eating a big beef burrito. Sometimes you eat a big beef burrito and you go right to sleep, you can lucid dream.
Now, here's the thing. The chicken burrito does nothing for me.
No.
The steak burrito, though, holy shit.
It makes me into a sweaty monster that can control my own mind.
I'm a god in my own world.
Quote, there are people who can learn to do it within days, and other people need 3 months, said Michael Schreidel, a researcher at the Sleep Laboratory in the Central Institute of Mental Health in Mannheim, Germany. I, for example, trained almost 3 months before getting lucid dreams. So it's very, very strong variation between persons. Studies have found that the main motivation for lucid dreaming is simply to have fun or fulfill wishes.
Yeah.
Which, of course, whether that be flying or having sex. But many people also use lucid dreaming to help manage nightmares or bad dreams, solve problems, explore creative ideas or insights, or practice skills. And that's an interesting idea of like, okay, no, this nightmare is done. I am in control now. Or just solve problems like you're on the holodeck.
I don't want to solve problems. I want to have fun. I would like a dream scenario where I was in control and I could try out a bunch of different wacky hairstyles and see if I liked it. That would be my lucid dream.
This is more Mark Zuckerberg. Is that you trying to get the metaverse? I don't know what my hair would look like if I don't have the metaverse version of me have different hair.
I must spend $35 billion to know what my next haircut will look like.
Mm-hmm. He has all the money for it. Some research has found that participants who practice simple motor skills in their lucid dreams, such as finger tapping, significantly improved in their ability to during waking life compared with control groups. So, like, if you do something during lucid dreams, you become better at it than in real life. Which is
like your brain is like forming the neural connections, even if you're not physically.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's very cool.
Which your brain does naturally, but it sounds like it's more of a like instead of it passively, you're kind of actively building.
I gotta say though, if I was dreaming all night about coding and then I woke up and I was better at coding, I'd be pretty mad about that. I'd be pretty pissed off.
I have had, I used to work at Five Guys, and I remember I would have long shifts, and the muscle memory, I would literally have dreams of being on the line. Like
that's so infuriating because then you wake up and you're like, I just had a dream about working a whole shift.
Yeah, it was not fun, and it was also because my legs were tired, so I like felt the physical sensation of it, and so it was not the best ones, but I understood why. It was because my brain was forming those connections of like, okay, we're gonna like figure out how to do this better, and it was just my entire day.
I'm gonna become the best burger flipper in the world. I'm gonna flip it up. I'm gonna do a backflip myself at the same time the burger is flipping.
Whoa. What a guy!
What a wedding!
What a wedding. One study found that people who clenched their hands during lucid dreams showed activation in the same motor cortexes as people in the waking state. It has even been suggested that lucid dreaming could be used to treat serious psychological disorders such as clinical depression or PTSD. However, some of the techniques used to lucid dream may not be a good idea for people with certain mental health conditions, such as presentations of schizophrenia, where people are struggling to tell the difference between fantasy and reality, which is obvious.
Right.
After first hearing about lucid dreaming in the early 2000s, I started to keep a dream journal and soon had my first lucid dream. It was pretty mundane affair. I was walking down the street near my school and bumped into a friend who I stopped to chat to. For some reason, this conversation had a sheen of unreality to it, triggering the realization I was in a dream. I proceeded to shout that fact gleefully at my friend, then immediately jumped into the air to begin flying, the classmate waving after me in bemusement. Shortly after, I lost the dream.
I like to think that this person was just high as a kite and they were in the real world and they bumped into their real friend and then went, I'm flying.
This is also the most like movie lucid dream I could imagine.
Yes,
Of, like,
I immediately jumped in the air.
I did it! And then he's flying away and then the friend just waving after you like,
Good job there, buddy.
Over the years, I've had a handful of more lucid dreams, often prompted by conversations on media about lucid dreaming. In particular, after watching the film Waking Life, a hazy digitally rotoscope filmed about a man who realized he's trapped in a dream. It puts me somewhere in the average of the population when it comes to experience lucid dreaming. In a 1998 survey of the dream behavior of 1,000 Austrians, 26% of them sometimes having lucid dreams. I'm going to say that all these numbers are not like very big studies necessarily. A 2011 survey of 900 German adults found half of them reported ever having a lucid dream. And it was more common among women and younger people, which I also find interesting. 2016 meta-analysis, a study pulling together and assessing multiple other studies, had similar results. Most lucid dreamers often have these dreams naturally and spontaneously rather than intentionally. Most often, natural lucid dreaming begins in adolescence, sometimes as a coping mechanism for frequent nightmares. But whether you begin spontaneously or deliberately, the number of lucid dreams and the level of control over your dreams tends to be similar, adds Stimbrace, though natural lucid dreamers tend to have slightly more longer lucid dreams than those who have self-trained. That's also interesting. I feel like the self-trained would have longer, but it seems to be opposite.
It's talent over dedication in this world.
I guess so. Since people who have lucid dreams frequently are rare, researchers can find it hard to achieve high success rates in prompting lucid dreams, making it hard to study, especially in lab settings. This is why a large focus on research currently is simply to find techniques that work best. Right now, we don't have a single technique which can induce lucid dreams reliably and with a high success rate, says Steinbros. Nevertheless, there are some easy ways that lucid dreaming can be facilitated, he adds. People who have good dream recall, for example, are more likely to remember having had lucid dreams. Which, that's like, yeah, no shit. Like, I feel like that's one of those stats that it's like, I think it's because people probably have more lucid dreams, I remember.
Yeah.
Dream recall can be improved by keeping a dream journal, recording a voice note on your phone about your dreams, or simply replaying your dreams in your mind for 10 minutes after you first wake up, says Aspie. All help you to become more familiar with your dream environments and thus learn more about common attributes of your dreams. Reality testing is another commonly used technique. Here, you ask yourself several times a day whether you're dreaming or not, in the hopes that you will also do it while dreaming, triggering lucidity.
It's like Inception.
Yeah! Generally, when we dream, we accept it is happening in our dreams quite uncritically, says Stybros. This occurs since part of the prefrontal cortex, responsible for much of our self-awareness and critical thinking, is slightly deactivated during REM sleep. According to one study, frontal areas of the brain may be slightly more active during lucid dreaming, which is also very interesting. But they also go into you can use like visible things like light flashes and like auditory stimulus to try to get people into it. However,
that sounds like, how do you know? Like, how do they know? How do they test that? How do they?
Well, that's where they're like, well, if they can respond to questions like with the rapid eye movement, then that's the only way we kind of know. Or if they report it afterwards, like that's all you could really ask, I guess. However, the overall body of research currently points to the most effective means being a more involved set of techniques, which consists of sleeping for 4 to 6 hours, waking up for an hour to do exercises focused on inducing lucid dreams, then going back to sleep, which sounds like a big fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah, this is like the whole thing where it's like, Leonardo da Vinci slept only 2 hours every 6 hours, and he was that much more productive. It's like, no, dude, I'm not doing that. That's way too inconvenient.
Have you heard of that thing that, like, the way people are naturally supposed to sleep is they sleep for 4 hours and then they wake up and then talk to people and then they go back to sleep for 4 hours.
Who has time? Who has the time?
I see like that and then pictures of people like at their fence talking to their neighbor while it's like fully night out. I'm like, who's doing that?
I'm going to call you at 3 a.m. and be like, Will, science says we need to talk.
That's a SpongeBob Beck. Oh boy, 3 a.m. Get my burger and eat it. Quote, the idea is to do it once you've got about 2 hours left of your sleeping, and that's because most dreams happen clustered near the end of the night, says Aspie, which is also, this is like all dream stuff I find very cool, but also dream stuff is so under-researched. So this is like especially like, oh, how are you doing that? Quote, most people have about 50% of our dreams in the last 2 hours of sleep. Kolonki believes that this is the most effective technique people can do at home. The main caveat, she admits, is that waking up at 4 a.m. is not fun or sustainable. So she says it too. In a study of 350 international participants published in 2020 examining 5 different methods of inducing lucid dreams, Aspie identified a specific variation of the technique, the mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, mild technique, as the most effective.
Demonic induction of dreams. Hail Satan!
During the night you shall say Latin phrases and start drawing pentagrams. I hope you don't mind.
I set my alarm clock to be the Doom soundtrack.
That would be awesome, actually. Oh, imagine your dreams for that.
That would be insane.
Imagine, you know how people put Mozart on for babies?
Put the Doom soundtrack on for babies.
Yeah. That would be awesome. That would be a rad baby.
Hell yeah, dude. I'd hang out with that baby.
But this involves waking up after 5 or so hours of sleep and setting an intention to have a lucid dream by repeating the phrase, next time I'm dreaming, I will remember I'm dreaming, before going back to sleep. People with good dream recall and those who fell asleep within 5 or 10 minutes of completing the induction technique had the highest success rate, says Aspie. So basically they're saying if you go, I'm going to lucid dream, I'm going to lucid dream, and then immediately like fall asleep immediately, then maybe you could do it really well.
Then maybe you get to look at your friend and say, I'm in a dream, I'm flying into the sky.
They said that the mild technique showed that 18% of participants had a lucid dream on nights that they used the technique. So I guess more effective than normal, because 18% doesn't sound that big, but I feel like compared to normal, that's a pretty big jump. Additionally, out of the 10 participants in the study who had never had a lucid dream, 5 experienced the first during the 5-week study period, which is also kind of weird. But Aspie notes that there are many potential techniques which have not yet had much research done on them. Another promising technique was he identified in the study, the senses-initiated lucid dream technique, had not previously been specifically investigated. This involves waking after 5 hours, then repeatedly shifting one's attention between visual, auditory, and physical sensations before returning to sleep. Once again, who the fuck has the time for this? But
I'm going to strap myself into a chair like Clockwork Orange and like feel a banana and then look at some bright lights and smell a bowl of pudding and be like, it's time to dream.
like immediately
I'm going to dream the best.
But they also tried to do it using drugs. Galantamine, a drug normally used to treat symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, a drug which available only on prescription in some countries, such as Germany, has also been identified as a way to help induce lucid dreams. Even though the drug is available over the counter in some countries, researchers note more studies are needed to ensure it is safe to use to induce lucid dreams. Because this seems like it's like Ozempic, where I feel like people are going to use it for another purpose, and then it's going to be like, oh, sorry, that gives you like arm cancer, like some weird. So we don't know how to deal with that.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, lucid dreams, the appeal of it is you can get to a like, I don't know, an illusory state without actually taking any drugs. But like, of course, this can be accomplished by taking drugs. That's the whole deal.
I feel like that's the last thing. If I was researching it, I'd be like, okay, let's bring in the drugs.
Okay,
we'll do that.
Drugs.
But they also say,
if we inject you with, or if we like, Yeah, if we microdose LSD to you while you're asleep, like, do your dreams go crazy?
Whoa,
Whoa, dude.
I woke up and I was in a bad headspace, but I could remember every dream I've ever had. Since then, research has progressed significantly. Concolia's research, for example, has shown lucid dreamers are able to use predetermined eye movements to correctly answer simple math problems whispered to them by researchers, demonstrating two-way communication between lucid dreamers and experimenters. So once again, this is another way, like, they're using their eyes to do math problems.
Hello, yes, I'm Dr. Oswald, and I will be whispering math problems to you tonight as you sleep.
But the debate about exactly what is happening during lucid dreaming rages on. So maybe one day we'll get to the bottom of what lucid dreaming is and how it's caused, but hopefully your next segment's going to be a dream in itself.
Oh, it surely is. It's a dream, and I don't know why I'm going to a southern accent. And this has nothing to do with the South. My next segment is about the Vasa. It is a Wikipedian historian, and it is about the Swedish ship called the Vasa, and the history therein. Have you heard of this before? It's a ship from the 1600s, supposed to be the pride of Sweden, one of the most expensive and glorious war boats ever built.
I think I might have heard a little bit about it. The Swedes are known for boats, though.
They're known for their boats, yes.
I was going to ask when it was, because this could have been, for all I know, like 1910. Welcome to the Vasa. Like, dang it, the Germans. They really knocked it out.
Oh, they did it. All right, so here we go. This is actually not from Wikipedia. It's from a combination of albany.edu and the Vasa Museum website. So there's a little history in there.
Interesting.
So here it is. It was a beautiful summer day, and hundreds of Stockholmers had come out to the quay at Långdren just before the royal castle to wish bon voyage to the Vasa on her maiden voyage. She was a royal ship, the biggest, most powerful, expensive, and richly ornamented vessel ever built for the Swedish Navy, and likely any other navy at the time. So, until human history, this was the most expensive ship built to that point.
Just the biggest. I mean, in the 1600s, the biggest ship was like not that big compared to.
It was big. They were building big ships. I mean, okay. I mean, compared to modern cruise ships, no. But yeah, I mean, it's a sailing ship.
It's like when you see the Titanic compared to like ships now, and it's like half the size, and you're like,
right?
Yeah, it is big for that time. For sure.
For that time,
like the biggest one. But
with 64 guns, this massive warship was designed to engender pride in the soul of the Swedish people and to strike fear in the hearts of our enemies. And she was decorated for power and glory. According to the prevailing belief at the time, quote, nothing can be more impressive, nor more likely to exalt the majesty of the king than his ships should have more magnificent ornamentation than has ever been seen before at sea. That was a quote from Jean-Baptiste Colbert, Louis XIV's pro-Navy Minister of Finance.
You hear that, Norwegians? 64 guns!
After Vespers services on Sunday, August 10th, 1628, the Vasa was pulled out of harbor. For the first 200 yards or so, she tugged along shore by her anchors, still at the shelter of a small tier of cliffs at the south. A light wind was blowing from the southwest. As the big ship was pulled seaward beyond the protection of the last cliff, Captain Sofring Hansen issued his order. Set the foresail, foretop, maintop, and mizzen. Obediently, the sailors scurried up this great ship's rig and hoisted her for her 10 sails.
Okay, Captain.
Okay.
I will do that.
Your girlfriend is Swedish.
Yeah. Yeah, she's going to get real mad. Listen, she does not like the Swedish chef voice, but that's what we're going to 100% do.
That's cultural appropriation.
Oh, come on. Listen, nobody wants to hear a very accurate Swedish impression where they're like, hello, how are you doing? How is it in America? Like, it's not very impressive.
Just as they did, a slight squall rose from the south-southwest, instantly catching the canvases, popping them open, and thrusting the ship ahead. As the ship passed the gap in the bluffs at Tevelgen, I don't know how to say that.
Swedish names,
a much stronger gust pushed the ship so far over on its port side that water poured in through the open gun ports and the lower gun deck. The Vasa began to sink.
Okay, because they were setting such a scene where it was just like, adventure awaits.
Adventure,
What a
the
beautiful,
pride of a nation.
a gentle wind billowed the sails, and why are we getting lower?
Pandemonium reigned on deck. The captain ordered the sheets cast off to spill the wind from the sails and the gun ports closed. Vice Admiral Erik Jonsson ran below to make sure the cannon had not broken loose. Many threw themselves into the water, while those below deck struggled to make their way up the wildly tilting ladders. Within minutes, the ship was on the seabed at depth of 32 meters. So, to be clear, this ship was very much still in view of everyone who was seeing them off in the harbor. This was like not far offshore.
I thought it was going to take time for something bad to happen.
No,
that is
they were
so
still in
fucking
harbor.
Funny. It launched and then it went for a little bit and then started immediately sinking. They're like, wait,
immediately, and this was the most expensive boat humanity had ever produced to this point. The mast. Within minutes, the ship was on the seabed at a depth of 32 meters. The masts stuck up above the surface, and many grabbed a hold of them. Others were picked up by small craft that had followed the Vasa's shaky journey at close quarters. Some swam the 120 meters to the shore.
Yeah, it's not a long swim.
No, it's not hard.
You're not exactly in the freezing waters of the Atlantic.
So all but 30 of the crew and guests survived when the Vasa sank. This was 30 people
died?
Yes.
On that point, were they just like, well, it couldn't possibly lock me in my cabin, throw away the key, we won't need that.
I don't want to look outside. I like the inside.
it's nice in here.
Most of the dead were trapped inside the ship, of course. We only know the names of a few people on the board, mostly those who survived the catastrophe. The captain, Sofring Hansen, abandoned the Vasa late, almost too late, as he was dragged under by the sinking ship and only barely reached the surface in his heavy, sodden clothes. Erik Jonsson survived, the admiral, but his escape was even closer. Below decks, checking the guns when the ship began to sink, the ladder on which he was climbing collapsed, and he was struck by the hatch cover. He was pulled from the water and lay near death for some time.
Oh, so he was on the shore, just well, he's goner, and then coughed
they
up water
pulled him back.
in a movie. That's crazy.
Right. Crazy. Among the dead was the original captain, Captain Hans Johnson. He had been named as Vasa's original captain before being replaced by Sofring Hansen. He was still on board, as it was common to take a second experienced captain on the first cruise of a new ship. Makes sense.
Oh, I don't want the responsibility, but you know what? A ride would be nice.
Would be nice. I do like free shrimp buffet. I do like it.
And I do hate sinking. And this, you know what? It seems like a piece of shit but as a client...
There was mourning in Stockholm for those lost, and relief amongst those who survived. There was anger among those who had built the ship, but the overriding emotion was astonishment. How could such a thing have happened? It was unprecedented. One of the largest warships ever built had sunk to the bottom of the sea, in her own harbor, under peaceful conditions. And it was more than just a personal tragedy for family and friends who were lost, and more than just another military setback for the already weakened Swedish Navy. It was also a major economic catastrophe. In the king's currency, the Vasa cost more than 200,000 Rex dollars to build, a little over 5% of Sweden's GNP. Their total wealth, 5% of it was that ship that just sunk.
That just immediately sunk.
Yes.
Literally, they would have a better time if they burnt that money, because at least they would feel the warmth. That is...
If your country's wealth was represented by 20 pies and someone immediately took one of the pies and dropped it in the ocean, that's how you would feel.
That's a terrible math problem.
It's terrible.
That's like if the U.S. government now was like, so everybody, we saw the Marvel movies. We really wanted to make a helicarrier. They seem cool as shit.
They seem cool.
It just crashed into the Potomac, just like happened in Winter Soldier. We should have thought about this.
We should have thought about that. 1/20 of the nation's economic product now lay at the bottom of the Stockholm harbor. The council of the realm raised questions immediately. Why did it happen? Who was to blame? The designer, Henrik Hibbertson, was an experienced and well-respected master shipwright who had built a number of successful warships for the Swedish crown, but Vasa was something new to him due to its size and armament, and he had no way to calculate the proposed ship's performance in advance. The mathematics we now use to predict stability and speed were more than a century in the future, so shipwrights had to base their designs on experience. Basically, shipbuilding at the time was guesswork, is what they are saying.
But the fact that they...
And a complete confidence game. A complete confidence game, because he had to sell that to the king.
That's what I was going to say. The fact that you didn't have any information, but you're like, you know what? I think we should go way bigger. I don't have any math to back up that I could do it, but it seems fucking cool, doesn't it?
I'm thinking that the mast should be 300 feet tall. What do you think about that? I don't know. 400 seems good to me.
That seems pretty nice. You know what? I think, you know how there's a naked lady on the front, usually like a mermaid? I think the entire ship should be naked ladies. Carve them all in. It won't affect the waves. It's not going to cause any drag or anything.
Now, each one of these 64 guns does weigh 3 elephants, but we can load them on there no problem.
64 doesn't seem like a lot for us, I feel like. But breaking that down of like, because was it one line or was it like a two?
It was probably several decks.
So.
But you think about one of those like old Civil War cannons and how fucking beefy those things are. It's 64 of those.
Yeah. You have 32 on each side, like 16 per deck. Like
right,
that's
16. It's crazy.
That's insane.
In this environment, it was common that new ships, especially large warships like the Vasa, were unstable when first put into service. Such ships were said to be tender or crank, and there were accepted methods for fixing the problem. Armament could be revised, extra planking could be added at the waterline, or the ship could be reduced in height by removing a deck. Unfortunately for Vasa, she was so crank that she did not survive long enough to be improved. The problem is that the upper works of the hull were too tall and heavily built for the relatively small amount of hull below the waterline. It was not underwater enough.
Okay, that makes sense.
This might have made the ship fast, but it put the center of gravity too high above the water, so even a light breeze could heal the ship alarmingly. This became clear to all on the 10th of August in 1628, but it was suspected by some even before the ship sailed. The fact that Captain Sofring Hansen allowed the gun ports to remain open when the Vasa set off was a fateful decision. If they had been closed, water could not have poured in, and the ship might have survived long enough to be rebuilt into a more stable configuration. But alas, that didn't happen. And the bow on this all is that this fantastically expensive and decorated ship, because it sank like right off the harbor, they like pulled it out of the harbor and put it in a museum, and you can go visit it. It's like you can just go see the ship now.
Foreshadowing that there's a Vasa museum.
Yeah, museum. Yes, yeah. So you can go see it in Stockholm, I assume, is where it is.
Yeah, Stockholm has a lot of great museums. I've been there before.
Yeah.
They have a medieval museum that I went to that like recreates a medieval Swedish street, which I thought was very fun. With like
that's fun.
They have like little mannequins and stuff, guy. Like they made that are like hanging out of windows, being like, hey, like. But there's a lot of great stuff around there. But that's
so maybe one day we'll take a Segment City trip over to Stockholm and visit this fateful ship.
That history of like Scandinavian stuff is fascinating because we went to Copenhagen and it was them in Norway. Like, yeah. I think we're allies against the Swedish, or it was a different configuration against. Like everybody was fighting.
It was like Finland, Sweden,
area, and
Norway,
it's all fucking so close together.
Yeah, right.
What is it? But Copenhagen and Sweden and Denmark are literally a ferry ride away. Like the castle from Hamlet is built into the bay, like kind of jutting out because it was protecting against the Swedish. Like it was. But anyway.
Very much an active like animosity there.
Yeah, it's such a complex because like that's one of those parts of like especially in Europe where it'll be like those people that are almost exactly like us but from the next place over, fuck them. I hate them so much. Like
they're so different from us and we could never find common ground.
Hey, Bostonians and New Yorkers getting common ground. Hey, forget about it.
Forget about it. I also just love that in 1628, they were like, we're the most scientifically advanced humanity has ever been. And we're going to put all our knowledge into this ship that will be the most glorious thing on the sea. Just immediately sinks.
But the fact that I understand that they probably didn't have the specific math on like drag and different like wood densities. Like, okay, I understand.
Sure.
They did they've built ships for centuries before this. This is not
Yeah,
like the first time. The fact that they were like, you know what? Maybe if we make it really fucking heavy,
Right.
then it'll be cool. Like,
It's still like the center of gravity issue. It's like it was too tall, like for
was
what
too
it
tall.
was.
But
Too
it was
tall
like-
and not wide enough.
it was also like they couldn't test it because where
You
would
can't
you
test
find
it.
a
How
body
you,
of
you're
water?
right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Without
I guess
it-
making scale replicas of ships doesn't really work either, because my assumption would be, okay, if you have a new ship design that you've never tested before, why not try making something that's like, 1/5 or 1/10 scale? Try making something that is like, 15 feet high with the same width and see if it just flips over. I mean, are the physics different? I don't know.
I can't say that they necessarily would be, but I could see somebody smarter coming in and being like, actually, it would be very different.
Well,
But,
I don't
like,
know, because like model boats are a big thing, and they aim to be like size replicas of larger ships, right? So, I mean, I would think that there would at least be some comparison you could draw. I would think.
Is there what's the something squared of like body density? Anyway, whatever. It's
Yeah, volumetric is definitely different, but I don't know.
something squared law, but whatever. But you know what's not whatever? This podcast, because we've
It's
come to
not?
the end of it. It's now going to be
Ah.
whatever. It's because it'll be at the end. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode. Remember, if you enjoyed it, give us a review, give us a star rating on your podcast network of choice, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, any of those, or any I didn't list. But we love to hear your comments, what you think about the show, if you're enjoying it. And if you have any segments, send it to segmentcitypodcast@gmail.com. Hit up our YouTube for full segments, or full episodes, and we have a big thank you to give to somebody in particular.
That thank you is to Rachel Robinson. She does our intro music, and she has fantastic music you can find on your streaming platform of choice. And some say if you see her on the high seas, she'll send you to the briny depths. I ran across her
Whoa.
once, and she said, Theo, you're way too top heavy. I'll tip ye over with a light breeze. And there I was in the bay, sinking to the briny depths right before I knew what had happened.
Arg, you were right about that one. Rachel
really-
Robinson.
And it really hurt me feelings. I'm still not over it.
Oh, also before I forget, check out my YouTube channel, Golly G Wilkers, where I do movie reviews, game reviews, and talk about history stuff. So, stuff I like to talk about. But speaking of history, we're now at the last segment of the day, list of unusual deaths, which this one I know for a fact you're going to enjoy even, like, okay, I will have to say that is always going to have an asterisk with this segment because as people died, that is always sad. This one, though, is a literal setup for a joke.
Okay.
This is the death of Isaac Rabinovich, who died August 1891. A bear walked into the Barkeep's Inn in Vilna, Russia, now part of Lithuania, and picked up a keg of vodka. You don't hear a lot about kegs of vodka.
No,
that sounds like
that's a lot. That's a lot of vodka.
But I bet vodka back in the day was probably like way diluted, like beer.
When they said it's enough vodka for a bear, they were.
But then again, when he tried to take it back, Isaac. When he tried to take it back, he was hugged to death by the intoxicated bear.
Oh no, the drunk bear.
And this is where it gets even more tragic. Along with his 2 sons and daughter. He got all of them.
He got all of them. That's a big bear.
That's a big hug.
That's a big hug. That's a bear hug.
And then villagers shot and killed the bear.
No. Oh.
It's like I understand.
That's the saddest ending to a bear walks into a bar joke. Oh.
This is the most Russian joke I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Bear walks into a bar, drinks keg of vodka, kills
Kills
barkeeper
everyone.
and children, and gets shot. Isn't that funny?
No, it's not.
Different cultures. Cultural differences.
Cultural difference. Funny where I'm from.
You know what? People would even maybe smile. That could cause them to smile. This is not Russian accent at this point. It's getting to Borat, but you understand.
He gave me a look.
That's the end.